Hello and welcome to She Sells Radio. How are we at 350 episodes? If you have been here from the start, my friend, I want to say thank you. And if you are brand new and this is the first time you're tuning in, I want to say thank you. But I went to record this intro today and said, oh my goodness, here we are. And this is how something happens, right? When you're focused and when you're loving the process and when you're just really up for being of service, you kind of look up one day and you say, wow, that thing that I thought would be a long time coming or a long way off, it's here. And so just celebrating that today as we go into the episode. And I'm recording a separate intro for this because this is a live stream that I did this week all about I called it how to weather a challenging season when I initially recorded it. And then I thought, I don't want to use the word weather. Because to me, now there's different seasons of life, right? And certainly some feel more challenging than others. And I share in this episode about last year going through some of the biggest challenges and contrast that I've been in my life and just the transformation, like how I alchemized those circumstances into being at a place today where I can say, what is coming in my life and my business, it's so beautiful. It's things that I have visioned and dreamed of for some of them for so long. Others are newer, but like truly in a space of just deep, profound gratitude for where we are right now, coming off the back of what felt like a very challenging season. But to the point of using the word weather, I actually don't resonate much with weathering a challenging season. I would invite you to think about this as how do you thrive during or following a challenging season? How do you alchemize a challenging season, right, into your good? Because that's what alchemy is. It's converting something of a lower nature into something of a higher nature. And I think that's a lot of what our life gets to be about, right? So whether you're going through a challenging season right now in your career, maybe in your sales, in your life, whatever it is, there is just by the law of polarity, there's an equal and opposite gift and opportunity inside every challenge. And it's all about where your focus goes. So you're going to hear me speak to that today on the episode. And I also just want to share as a really important member of our community, and from my heart to yours, a little bit of where we are right now with the podcast and some of what to expect moving forward. So we are in a season right now as a company of incredible growth. We have brought on some of the most phenomenal team. We just launched our new consultant certification program that we're going to be kicking off this fall. And this has been a dream come true to empower other women to go out and coach and teach and train this material and to expand the lives we get to impact, not just through them coaching their clients, but also to be able to pour into our consultants and help them build a business and a life that they are so proud of and so grateful for. And then so many other things that have been going on. We've got an event series that we've run for the first time here this summer in Portland, Maine. As I record this, we're doing our next event, our second event next week, all about money. And then we've got one more event for the year coming up in September that's going to be about masculine and feminine energy. So if you want to get in on that one, send me an email, elise@elisearcher.com, and my team can send the link when that's available for registration. It's going to be really, really transformational. But so many big things going on right now. I told my team last week, like, I feel like it's definitely a push season, not in the old push, force, hustle energy that I certainly was brought up in. And I was convinced that was how we had to show up to be successful in business. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is more, it kind of feels like the season where when you're giving birth and it's time to push, we're giving birth to a lot of big stuff right now. Big speaking opportunities, amazing clients, like all sorts of things. And it's all in an energy of tremendous gratitude and humility and service as well. And with that being said, the podcast, oh, my love, the podcast. I have a knowing about our show, about what is going to be happening with the podcast. Um, and I have a vision for what we are going to be doing with everything from really beautiful in-person recording studio, like totally elevated setup, strategy, like just there's so many things right now that I cannot wait to do with the podcast because out of everything that I get to do, um, probably aside from coaching and working with our clients and delivering events and doing that, like creating this content and being able to come to you in this really intimate format is one of my very favorite parts of running this business and building a brand and doing this. Like I absolutely love it. And we are because of the season we're in, the podcast isn't going away. I feel like I'm making this sound like the podcast is going away. It's not. Bear with me. Let me get to get to where we're going with this. Because of the season we are in right now, all of those amazing, wonderful up levels that I want to implement with the show, they've had to take a bit of a back burner simply to deliver on the things that we're actively focused on right now for our clients and with our team. So, with that being said, it feels to me right now, you may have heard the analogy that every surgery in the middle looks like a murder. And there's stuff right now in our company that we are taking apart and rebuilding. And there are some things, and this is what happens when we elevate, right? It's like what got you here won't get you there. There are some things that we are taking apart and rebuilding. And there's a bit of the murder in the middle of the surgery vibe with some of it. Now, it's all good stuff. It's all good things. Like everything is up leveling so much within how we operate, our team, the company, all of it. And with the podcast, I have felt I'm going to use empowering language here because I know where we're going next and because I know what I want to do. There have been parts of me where I'm like, oh, I just cannot wait to do this now and focus on this now. And it is getting prioritized, making these changes just for the company, for our clients. We've got to prioritize that first. So with that being said, I had found myself getting inconsistent with the recordings. And if you've been a listener for a while, you know that, right? You've probably seen that. And I think sometimes when we're in that state where we're like, ooh, we're about to birth something new, there's some good stuff coming, and we know where we're going, but we're not quite there yet. It can be a little bit of that, like, it's not wobble energy. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I noticed myself getting inconsistent with the podcast, which I didn't like. Simultaneously, we have launched a live stream series where Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern, I'm going live on my social media. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And just I used to go live a lot more, hadn't done it in a while. And I was like, you know what? I really want to build that sense of connection with our community on a regular basis through these live streams. And so my team and I were brainstorming the other day about just what we can do in this season where there's so much new being birthed and so many new things we're bringing forth. And it does have to be a bit of prioritizing what's first, second, and third. And so I was like, why are we not sharing these live streams on the podcast? Because it's the same type of content I would normally record for a podcast. It's already there. It's going to change your life if you're open, right? And receptive. And I feel like when we're connecting with content and just open to being guided, we can connect with the right message for us. So what we're going to be doing for the next little bit is sharing with you on the show the live streams that I'm doing live. And it's just like a normal podcast. It was just something I delivered live. So you're going to hear a little bit of me engaging with the audience and taking questions. You'll hear me talking a little bit about some things that are coming up, which, depending on when you listen, may or may not still be relevant. But as always, we're here to serve you. So if you want to connect about our coaching programs, getting involved in 10K Club, 50K Club, our mastermind, or coming to an upcoming event, send an email, elise@elisearcher.com. We're here. We want to serve you. We're here to connect. But with that being said, that is what we are doing in this season until we can implement all of the beautiful vision that I have around the elevation of this show. So I wanted to tee that up so that that makes sense as you listen to the next however many episodes. I know that it's going to change you. I know that it's going to transform you if you open it, if you're open. And again, this particular episode all about how to alchemize a challenging season. And I'm sharing with you things that if I look back last year, there were days where it was like, let me just get through this minute. Let me get through this 10-minute block. Let me get through this hour. So if you're in one of those right now, or if you've ever been in one, you're going to get this, and this is going to help you move the energy into creating something incredible out of that, because that's always the opportunity. And again, it's all about where our focus lies. But you'll hear a little bit more in this episode about some of the specifics of what was happening last year, how it's 3 things that I did to move through it and to shift the energy. And just, I feel like we're in like our greatest thrive ever. And I say that with so much gratitude, again, gratitude and humility, because it has been 100% a spirit, God, source moving through me type of thing that has created this. So anyway, I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy this episode. Let me know what you think. Share with me on social. Thank you, as always, for being a listener. And with that, we'll get into the episode.
There we go. We should be good. Good morning. Good morning. We are live all the places now. You can't see this on Instagram, but if you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you're going to see the amazing, my son built a Starbucks drive-through on the couch behind me this morning, and we are not allowed to touch it. We are not allowed to move it. So sometimes we have monster truck chic in the house. This morning, we've got Starbucks drive-through chic in the house behind me. Bridget, good morning. Hello, hello. So good to see you. So today we are going to be talking about how to weather a challenging season. This can be a challenging season in your business. It can be a challenging season in your life. Hi. By the way, if you're joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, pop me a comment. That is how I know that you're here. And I'm excited that you're here and joining. And this has been a topic that's really been on my heart to share with all of you for some time now. And I was thinking, I did a quick little reel about this last week, but I was just thinking about the difference that a year makes. What a difference a year can make in terms of where we're at, challenges that we've overcome. And I'll share just a little bit of context. So we are right now, like in my business, in my life, we are in a season of some of the most beautiful growth, abundance, like incredible things happening. And I may kind of weave some of that in as we talk today. Really incredible growth and things happening. And this time a year ago, I was going through probably one of the most challenging seasons I've been in my life, in my business, in all of it. And so to have some perspective and to say, wow, like when we learn how to alchemize, and you're going to hear me use that phrase a lot today, alchemy, because it is about alchemizing, which is, what is alchemy? It's turning lead into gold. It's transformation. When we learn how to take what we've been given in a challenging season and actually harness it and use it for our transformation, that's actually when we can get to the other side. That's when the gift comes in. So it's really, really powerful. And so if you're just starting live, we're talking about how to weather, not just weather. I actually wish I titled this differently. I don't think it's how to weather a challenging season. It's really about how to alchemize a challenging season in your life, how to transform, how to turn it from that lead into gold, right? So if you're going through one of those right now in your life, like, let me know, pop a comment or give me a heart. Because guess what? None of us get to avoid these, but when we know how to harness them, and when we know that they're actually the seasons when the greatest gifts come through, we can experience what they are there for, which is for our growth. So this time last year, like I said, it was one of the most challenging seasons in my life, and I'm not going to share all of it, just for some people's privacy and respecting that. But some of the things, there was some pretty intense contrast going on in my business with some things. that were happening. And simultaneously, while all of this was happening, um, we had just had a baby. So had a, like a 3-month old, and had just gotten settled in a new home. My husband he'd been applying for medical school for a bit because he knew that was the path he wanted to go on, and had been waitlisted at his dream school. And we actually had to make a decision on where we were going to move before they told him if he was off the wait list or not. And we ended up deciding to move to a home in North Carolina, thinking he wasn't going to get off the wait list because it was so close to when school was starting. So we had just gotten settled in this new home. We'd kind of said, okay, maybe next year will be the year when this happens, and let's keep the faith and we'll go at it one more time. I remember I was like, I can do this for one more year. And then 3 weeks after we got settled into that new home, he got the call that he was off the wait list and had 48 hours to go from North Carolina to Maine. And I was, sitting there with our 2 kiddos at home, and, breadwinner for the family, needing to provide, and then needing to figure out, okay, how do we make this all work? I literally still have moving boxes around me from where we just got settled. We had childcare. We'd just gotten situated in North Carolina, great childcare that I felt really good about. And in that moment, it was kind of like destiny. Like, what are we going to do here? Right. I don't know if you've ever had a situation like that. Let me know in the comments. Have you had a situation like that where it's like suddenly everything in your life changes so fast and you're like, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to handle this? So he left, and I have a huge sudden appreciation for single parents and everything that they do to raise their kids, because it is no joke, right? And I was really blessed to call in and recruit some beautiful help around that time. And then right around that time too, our 2 dogs passed within a couple months of each other. And so I say all of that not to be like, oh, poor, like none of that, because I know that those seasons are the seasons where we're being refined. But in the moment, I'm not going to like go back to the energy of it, because it was it was quite challenging. And I know that there's people who go through far more challenging things as well. But in that moment, I remember it was like every day having to cultivate and tap into so much inner strength that I didn't even know was possible and was there, to be able to just navigate the day, figuring out, okay, suddenly single momming, not really, but in that season, yes, because my husband was gone. How are we going to take care of the kids? How am I going to run the business? We just moved into a new home. Now I've got to figure out how we're moving into another home and moving states, navigating some of the business stuff at the same time. And so it was a day by day experience. But now, a year out from it, there is so much wisdom that I feel like I can now share. And sometimes when we're in it, it's like we don't see it, right? And I didn't see a lot of it then, because you're in it, you're almost like in, I want to say survival mode. It can feel like that, right? I think that language matters though a lot. And so maybe we'll choose differently. I don't know, growth mode, whatever it is, right? But it felt like that throughout time, certainly. But now on the other side, I can see everything that was happening. I can see the gifts. I can see every single thing and how it was working for me. And so what I wanted to share with you today is, if you are in one of those seasons where it feels challenging and it feels effing hard and it feels like you don't know how you're going to even make it through today, there is a path out, my friend. There is a path out, and you are not stuck there. And it will not continue to be your experience unless you decide that it will. But there's some really beautiful ways that we can navigate all of this. We're just saying survival mode shows you how you can thrive. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And again, even just today, like reflecting on everything that's happened and where we are right now as a company, and in my life too. It's like we're now settled in a beautiful home in Maine. We're reunited again as a family. It actually didn't take that long. It took a couple of months. Our business, we just launched this past week. We just launched our consultant certification, which has been a dream for years and years. And it's like, it was a very emotional, moving week. over the past, actually 2 weeks now that we opened up for this, because it had been such a vision for so long, but I wasn't ready yet. And part of what's been happening over the past year was it's preparation, right? When we're going through those challenges, when we're going through the pain, when we're in the lead part where it hasn't yet turned into the gold, like, you are being prepared. So I can look at everything now from where I am today and say, man, this was how I was able to navigate those things and how we were able to alchemize those challenges. And this is what you can do too, to apply to a challenge season. So I think the first thing is, if you are going through a challenging season, or maybe even call it like a refining season, right? You're going through a refining season. The first thing to do is you have to control your focus. You have to shift your focus from the pain to what is trying to emerge, which is the gift. There is always a gift in those challenges. There's a story, and I don't know who this originated from, but I remember hearing a story a while back about two girls who were and I don't know if this is made up or not, who knows, right? But it's the point of it is what I want to communicate here. Two sisters who were being observed for an experiment, and they're put by these observers in a enclosed room with a glass case, and there's a pile of manure in it. And one of the girls sits down and just starts crying and bawling, and she's like, "Oh, this sucks. I'm in horse crap," right? The other one, she shrieks with joy, and she starts digging, and she's digging, and she's digging. And the observers who looked at her, they're like, why are you so excited? What are you looking for? Why are you so happy? And she's like, with all this manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. So I say all of that to say, you can shift the focus from these are analogies I didn't know I was going to use today, but here we go. You can shift your focus from the manure to the pony, right? Where is the pony? Where is the prize? Where is the gift? You start to alchemize the situation, and you start to actually experience that. So last year, again, it was day by day, a lot of times with this, but when I could start to see the gifts that were coming through of, oh, you're being strengthened. Oh, you're learning so much more resilience. Oh, you're learning how to navigate things so that you can help your clients do the same thing. From that place, we drop the resistance to what's going on. So this is where we can actually get really stuck and keep perpetuating the cycle and make it last longer than it needs to necessarily. Is we get in resistance to what's going on, and we're like, oh, this is wrong. Oh, this shouldn't be happening. And then whatever we resist persists, right? So if we're in resistance to it, it's going to stay there. So if we can accept it, and if we can be grateful for it, and if we can say, what's the gift, right? I know there's a gift in here somewhere. What's the gift for me? Then we start to shift and move the energy, and things can start to move and transform and alchemize. All right. So that's the first thing, is shift the focus. I had a mentor once who would make us go through an exercise when something challenging was happening. She would have us make a list and say, I'm thrilled this is happening because, and list out at least 10 reasons. And at first you're doing it and you're like, I'm not, why in the world would I be thrilled this is happening? Whatever's going on, right? Why am I thrilled that business feels like it's declining? Why am I thrilled that I'm fighting with my partner? Why am I thrilled this or that, right? And at the beginning, you'll probably have resistance to it. But when you can start asking different questions and look at things from a different perspective, you'll start to uncover the gift. So that's the first step. The second is, have to understand that manifesting another level of results, of money, of success, of abundance, of happiness, of joy in your life, whatever it is, it's actually not so much about the thing that you think you want. So it's not so much like, if you're like, I want to manifest $1 million, right? It's not so much about manifesting the $1 million. It's more about you. The way that you'll do it is you actually focus on manifesting the version of you who has that. So we take our focus away from the external, from all the things outside of us, and we shift it on to who am I getting to become in this process. And so if you're in that refining season, if you're in that challenging season, and you've set an intention for something greater that you want in your business or in your life, and let me know too in the comments, like what intention have you set for something greater in your life? Are you setting an intention for greater business growth? Are you setting an intention to, and launch a nonprofit is showing up for someone here. So are you setting an intention to launch a nonprofit? Are you setting an intention to write a book? Are you setting an intention for greater harmony in your home, right? Whatever it is, when you set that intention and you're like, yes, I'm available, guess what? You get to become the person who has that, because this is where people get things messed up. This is where people get vision boarding and manifesting and these phrases messed up, is they say, oh, I want this, so I'm just going to put it on the vision board and I'm going to look at it and it's going to happen. No, in life, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. So whatever the intention is that you've set, your work is to then become the person who has it. And in those challenging seasons, in those seasons of refinement, in those seasons where it feels like, holy crap, I don't, like, I've got to do this thing day by day, or I don't even know if I can make it to tomorrow, right? Sometimes we have those feelings and those thoughts. Your job is to focus on, who am I getting to become? You are getting to become the person who has what you desire. When I was going through everything last year, and in the time, I didn't even put all of it together, because sometimes when things are happening fast and you're like, whew, like what's going on? Whiplash feeling some days. You don't always see it with that level of perspective, right? But I can look back at it and say, I had set much bigger goals for my business. I had set bigger and better goals for my relationship. And when we do that, it's like, all of the elements of us that aren't in alignment with what we are desiring, they get to be brought to the surface so that we can transmute them. Is this making sense? So because you don't get what you want, because you get what you are, you have to become a match for what you want. And so in those seasons of challenge and in those seasons of refinement, you're not being punished. There's nothing wrong. You haven't upset God or done this or that. You have set an intention for something greater in your life. And now you're getting mirrored the parts of you that you get to shift, adjust, rearrange, the old limiting beliefs or perceptions of yourself that no longer serve, that you get to drop and release. Is this making sense? Let me know. So you are getting to become the person who has what you desire. And so I can look back during those days where it was like minute by minute, hour by hour, a lot of the days, and say, what was happening? Again, I was getting to become so strong. I was getting to fall in love with myself more. I was getting to grow as a mom. I grew so much as a mom last year, like spending time raising the kids on my own for a bit. Val is saying 100%. Yeah. So I was getting to become the woman who has what I want. And so that's it. So when you're in those seasons, you are getting to become the vibrational match for what you want. And the only way for that to happen is for the opposite to be illuminated. And that's the third key, is to understand the law of opposites, to understand the law of opposites. So by law, when you say, I want greater health, let's just use that as an example. I want greater health. The opposite must be manifested as well, so that you can have contrast to determine, what does greater health look like for me? Or you say, I want greater wealth. I want to increase my sales, right? I have this conversation with a lot of the women in our community, and some of you are on here today. So hello, if you're on here. I want more money. I want to increase my sales. I want to grow my business. Beautiful. So by law of opposites, we're going to get to see, where are you currently in scarcity mode? Where are you currently not a match for abundance? Where are you currently making money God? Like all of these things that we do that block us from more money. So we get to see those. Now, again, it's all about your focus. So when that happens, a lot of times people will say, oh no, is something wrong happening, or I'm doing it wrong. Again, oh, no, this isn't meant to be. I'm not meant to be successful. I'm not meant to make millions of dollars. I'm not meant to be as abundant as I want to be. These are signs that it's not supposed to happen. Not at all. It is the law of opposites helping you understand, all right, what parts of me, because again, it's never about the external. Like it's just a mirror and a reflection of who you're being inside. I feel like I'm like very Italian today using my hands, but it just is what it is. I'm feeling this message for you today. So you get to see, where am I not yet a match for someone who makes multi-millions in her business? Where am I not yet a match for abundance? Because with abundance, and we're doing an event on this next week talking about money, with abundance, don't make it about how can I manifest a certain amount of money or make a certain amount of money in my business because then I'll be abundant. No, we want to learn and understand that you are abundance, that you generate it from the inside out. And when we can tap into that energy and that way of being, and focus on being abundance, know that you are abundance, then you're going to get abundance in your outer world. It's all just a mirror. It's all just a mirror. But the law of opposites means that we want to see, if I want greater health, I need to see, where am I not currently being the healthiest version of me? If I want greater wealth, where am I in scarcity? Where am I holding back? Where am I not being generous? Right? So all of these things are just happening so that you can get what you want. And isn't that great to know? Isn't that so good to know that you are so powerful, that when you set an intention for your next level of growth, of transformation, of abundance, of wealth, of success, right? When you set that intention, that you get to, it's almost like Abraham Hicks talks about it. You get this clay to work with, right? You're molding clay. So you're going to get this raw material now to work with. And part of that raw material is the contrast and seeing the opposite of what it is that you set an intention for, so that you can mold it into what you want. This is it. But again, the entire focus, it all depends on your focus, like how you navigate this, whether you alchemize it and move through it quickly and gracefully and elegantly, or whether you perpetuate it and draw it out. It all depends on what you're focused on. All right. It all depends on what you're focused on. So if you're going through that refining season, my friend, if you're going through the season, I've talked about this a lot on social lately, like everything grows in the dark. Babies grow in the dark. Plants grow in the dark. So if you're going through a season where you feel like you're in the dark, there is something that's growing. But the key is, what are you going to focus on? That is the way to navigate it. So the sooner you can stop resisting it, the sooner you can stop making yourself wrong, the sooner you can focus on the gift, the sooner you can ask yourself questions like, if this were to go on for some period of time, what qualities would need to be cultivated in me? Michael Beckwith talks about this. It's so powerful. What qualities would need to emerge? That's the gift. Focus on that. Lean into that. And you will find that the energy starts to move, that things start to shift. So let me know, is this resonating? Do you have questions on this? If you're on here live, you can put it in the comments. But that's how we navigate it. So while you're thinking about what questions you have and just anything you want to type in the comments while we're here live, I'm happy to address. I want to share two ways to go deeper in this work, and I'll look for the comments too. But first, we have a completely free training that will help you go deeper into this. So it's actually more about how to quantum leap your sales, but part of the quantum leap is we get to become a match for what we want, right? So we've got a beautiful free training. We call it the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. In it, I teach how I was able to go from stuck and struggling for over a decade, no matter how hard I worked, always making the same amount of money, struggling with panic attacks, eating disorder, anxiety around sales, money, business, to really, talk about alchemy, like transforming a lot of these areas in a really beautiful way, and turning my annual income into my monthly income in 6 weeks. So that's elisearcher.com/4 quadrants if you want to grab that free training. And then we've got 2 events left this year, but we're sold out of the one next week. So I'm incredibly excited. We've got a sold out house coming here Portland, Maine. Some of you, is anyone here who's going to be there live? I don't know if any of you who's here live right now who's going to be there. I don't know if anyone is with us right now who's going to be there live, but I know a lot of you are going to watch the replay. We're so excited to have you. And that's all about money, which is the second quadrant of quantum sales growth. But we will have our last live event of the year coming up in September, all about integrating masculine and feminine energy for your business success. And it's so beautiful and so powerful. So if you want to be notified of when that's ready for registration, that'll be in September here in Maine. Pop me a DM. Val is saying spring event was so good. I'm so glad that you were there. Oh my gosh. And I tell you what too, Val, like they're just continuing to get better and better. It's really beautiful. This has been the event series that we're doing has been so like spirit inspired. And I really appreciate you saying that. And just the inspiration that's flowing, the people who are coming in, the opportunities, it's really just like from my heart, from our whole team's heart, to put on these events and these workshops and to do it. So I loved having you there. And I know I'll see you in Portland again, Bridget. Oh my gosh, such an amazing time. Yes, I know. I loved having you both there. Our community is so amazing, y'all. It's so amazing. We're so grateful to get to serve in this way. So yes, so if you want to come, if you want to get notified of the September event and when it's ready for registration, pop me a DM. But do we have questions on this? Do we have questions, ahas, takeaways on, how do we weather and alchemize a challenging season? I hope that wherever you are in your journey with this today, whether you're in one right now, or maybe you've been through one and you're on the other side and you're like, yep, that's how I got through it too. This is always where the greatest growth happens. And it's the gift. And it's all about, again, it's all about how you navigate it. It's all about how you approach it. It's all about your perspective. That's it. It's all about what are you going to be aware of during this? Are you going to be aware of the contrast and the challenges? Or are you going to use that, take the balance, as Abraham Hicks says, and then get clear on what you want and who you get to become in order to navigate this? That's the gift. And that's where we go from where we are to where we want to be next. So I hope this was of service to you. As always, please send me a DM if you have questions on any of this, if you want to connect with our team about getting some support in your own quantum leap in business and in life. We're here for you. We love you. We're grateful for you. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.